Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk faster, faster, faster. Gotta talk fast.
Welcome to an oral review of Archie Comics' Sonic the Hedgehog, reminding you that the best time to get a flu shot and a COVID shot is around the end of October/early November. The second best time is today. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I'm Nick, and except for this intro, I wrote the script.
And I'm Dominic. Except for this intro, I haven't read any of today's script.
Exciting. You ready to rock and roll?
Yes.
Ready to I was in Chicago. I did like a drug deal. I gave Dominic the script and then I drove away to Ohio.
It was really funny because he literally with a bag of Sonic 1 and 2 on Blu-ray and then this literal script in my hand. He gave it to me across, like our cars were lined up opposite or like facing each other, but not facing each other. So like the windows were lined up, driver's side. And we handed it over like a drug deal. It was great.
It was great. little teaser of some content we might be making soon with the movies Sonic 1 and 2 involved.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Nick, you could say we Delta Sonic. Like the car wash, Delta Sonic.
No, just read the script.
Okay, we don't
pay you to make jokes.
Sonic,
that's my job.
Sonic number 22, release date February of 1995, publication date January, February, March, April, May of 1995.
That's why I keep on doing it. You're gonna get good at it.
I am. No, it's like when I turned my phone to 24-hour clock. I just had to learn it. The Return, Part 1. Script by Ken Penders and penciled by Pat Spaziante. So we're keeping with Spaz. Also, random aside real quick, in case we didn't mention it last time, because I don't think we did, the reason why we're on Discord, why we're doing this over internet call, is because work fucked us. So yeah.
Yeah,
that's why we're doing
I've
it
been
over.
Away for like 3 weeks, and then I came to Chicago for like 5 days, and then left again.
It's truly stupid, Nick's work schedule. Okay, here we go. It was a beautiful day on Future Mobius. Queen Sally and King Sonic are playing with their nameless children out in a field. When, suddenly, the skies turned dark. Sally and Sonic look to the sky with their nameless children when lightning strikes mere feet from the four of them. They cover their eyes from the flash, and when they look at the strike, when the light subsided, Dr. Ivo Robotnik stands in front of them. Sally and Sonic stare in fear when, as fast as he came in, he disappeared. Sally asks Sonic if they just saw Robotnik and if he's back. Sonic says that's impossible, and what they just saw was a weird freak of nature. While King Sonic reassures his family all is well, the incredible surge of energy that flashed before him has been harnessed by an unseen force. Unseen, that is, by those who live on Mobius. Far below them, an unusual craft now orbits the planet. We're now on a spaceship with what looks like to be some sort of teleporter lighting up. Robotnik appears on the telepad, confused as to where he is. Oh god, okay, so I have to... what did I do for Robo-Robotnik?
I have no idea.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome, my friend.
It wasn't that, but I'm super... You know what? I think that's okay, because I don't think this is the same Robo-Robotnik that we saw earlier.
No, I think they do. I think they specifically say it is in like one of the editor's notes.
So I think it's left up to interpretation. I'm sorry, this should be... keep on going. We'll talk after.
Okay. Robotnik, shocked as no one ever refers to him as his friend, looks around and notices Robo-Robotnik on the screen.
I am you, or rather, you will be me. In simpler terms, I am what's left of you.
Prime Robotnik is confused by the word left.
And here I thought Snively was a dolt. Haven't you figured it out yet? This world is an alternate timeline from the Mobius you know.
Prime Robotnik responds in a very Metal Gear Solid way, which was just to repeat everything Robo-Robotnik just said, but without a question mark at the end of the statement. So fucking true.
During my final battle with the hated Hedgehog, I was left with little choice. I had to undergo roboticization if I were to have any hope of overpowering Sonic. I merely delayed the inevitable with one chance remaining. I uploaded my core memory to this station that I had designed and built with other intentions in mind. Unfortunately, the station was far from complete. I may have saved myself from that fool Sonic, but at unforeseen costs. Now all I can do is just operate the station's functions until my systems run down. All is lost.
Prime Robotnik despises this.
You've only lost another battle, as have I. But the war continues. Look at me. If you remember, I thought I was just obliterated. Instead, I was flung into this alternate timeline by my renegade creation Eve. I survived and lived to fight another day. And someday in your future, you will evolve to the next level. Right now, the clearest course of action is for me to return where I belong, so that I may ensure that this time I win.
Prime Robotnik hops into the teleporter and programs the teleporter to the trans-dimensional highway. His body turns red, and then there's a flash. Robotnik is gone. End of part 1.
Okay. There's the reason why I was like, we need to stop this conversation and let you finish, because there's a lot that just happened,
Yes.
I feel like. And I feel like they're already retconning things they established like 3 issues ago.
Or 1 issue ago, yes.
Okay. Robo Robotnik that we know from issue, what was it, 19?
Yes.
I think it's 19. The world he came from was Sonic, Sally, Tails, and Buns all were roboticized.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? And they were half roboticized so that they could fight Robotnik.
Right.
And that's when he was like, oh, I need to roboticize myself so that I can fight them.
Yes.
And he won in the end.
Correct.
This is A, in the future, and B, there is no Robo Sonic or Robo Sally or anything like that.
Right, because his last bastion is the space station that the Freedom Fighters can't get to.
Exactly.
Okay, so I agree with you. I agree with you. It is different.
So then that either means A, this is something that just happens a lot in a lot of timelines where Robotnik just roboticizes himself and goes into like a digital world or something.
That makes sense. Honestly, it makes... I mean, first of all, it's infinite timelines, so there's probably billions of versions where Robotnik robotizes himself fully. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Additionally, that totally sounds like something he would do.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of problems still. One being that this is apparently in the future. That breaks my mind. That like I do not like that, because it's specifically, I feel like timeline hopping. You're still in the same time. You're not going forward in the past or forward in the future or backwards in the past. And this, Robotnik went into the future in an alternate timeline.
Yeah, either one, they're just completely... The authors are confused. Ken Penders, because it's only Ken Penders now. Real quick note is that I've noticed Mike Kenternovich was not on the last one. So this is pure Ken we're seeing here and before. Additionally...
well, I really like the last one. This one, I have a lot of problems with.
Yes, so I don't know what happened. But what I was going to say was that that's either one, a mistake. Ken he used the word term forward in time without thinking about it, or B.
Well, no matter what, it needs to be, because they're using King and Queen Sally and Sonic, so that would have to be in the future.
Not necessarily, because things can happen at a different rate, right?
So you're saying that this would be Sonic and Sally in present day age?
Is this prime? Is this prime Sonic and Sally?
Yeah.
Okay, if it's prime Sonic and Sally, then you're right. It would be one timeline accelerates faster than the other, or so parallel universes. You can initially in sci-fi world logic, right? You can assume that they're the same, right? Notice how my elbows and hands are lined up.
Yeah.
And then in most science fiction, they'll travel like just from like my wrist to my other wrist. It's the same. That's the assumption. However, if you add that extra element like they just did here in the story, add that extra amount of time travel. So now you're going from like my elbow to my wrist. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Listeners that aren't watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, but it's the added element of time travel in addition to parallel universes, time and space. And multi-dimensional stuff, which is why I hate this shit. Let me be clear. I fucking hate this shit. I always did, but especially now.
It just feels like they did it so that they can like tease King Sonic and Queen Sally. Like correct. There's no reason it feels like this should have happened like this.
And I hate it. I truly hate it. Yes.
Yeah. Also, they don't give the kids names, which I think is really funny.
It's really funny because it just goes to show how little they care about it.
Well, they've like, it wouldn't bother me if it was like a one-off, which is why I never called it out in the last time they showed up.
Right.
But this is the second time they've shown up. So now there's an assumption that these kids are going to keep on showing up and we don't have names for them.
Yeah. Still disappointed that they're not hybrid animals.
I agree. Or I would have rathered Kid Sonic be a girl and Sally, like the one that looks like Sally, be a boy.
Correct.
Mix it up, you know?
Yes.
Those were my main thing was just like, it just feels like they're already screwing up whatever lore they came up with like literally 2-3 issues ago.
And it's really disappointing because they were in a cool spot to like turn a new chapter and they didn't. They absolutely didn't. So it's unfortunate. We saw it coming. We're not surprised by this. We're just disappointed.
Yeah.
That's one
disappointed is the right word.
That's one thing I really liked about Dragon Ball is that back when I was watching it more during like high school and grade school, is that when you turned a page, you really turned a page. Like, oh, this is the Cell Saga or Majin Buu saga now, right? The pink monster. So now it's like, oh, Vegeta's a solid ally. Goku has this level of power that's established. We're going to keep breaking that level as the series goes on, but at least we're here and we've established that, right? So you've a very clear as extremely formulaic as the whole series can be. It does show a progression, and that's what I like about it. Stories like this are so freaking infuriating to me because it feels like I'm going nowhere with it.
Yep.
And it's I even understand it's like, hey, resistance movements, that shit can take decades. World War II was an exception because that was like every major power on Earth going at it at the same time. So that was bound to escalate quickly and end somewhat quickly as long as they're putting their full foot into it. Most like civil wars, like the Syrian civil war, like the Myanmar civil war, it takes a long time for that shit to fizzle out. So even the U.S. Civil War was an exception because it was less resistance and more two equal armies, more or less, going at it. So I'm okay with that if we were stuck in that status quo. This is waffling between, hey, we're here now. Oh, never mind. Just kidding. Robotnik's back. He's back for a second, and then he's back for real. I don't know. And then with the timeline shit, it's so floaty. There's no gravitas or staying power to any of this so far. And it's so disappointing. All right.
And I stand by what I said last issue, which is like, I just wish we got a few issues of like no Robotnik and living in that world. And
here's a villain of the week.
Like what kind of trouble happens when there's no Robotnik, right? Maybe there's like a weird power balance that he somehow kept that we don't know about, or I don't know. There's things you can do.
Or there's like, so maybe never get rid of Robotnik's influence, right? You don't have to go to a completely random new villain, but go to like, hey, here's Snively trying to like control of what's left. Like there's a power vacuum and now it's Snively trying to control everything. Or
like he made a super SWAT bot that's like in control of everything now.
He made a dead man switch.
A Metal Sonic.
Okay.
That is just an idea.
Yeah. Maybe there's
you know what? Sega, you can have that one. Metal Sonic. Try it out.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea. One of my favorite things is a dead man switch. Do you know what a dead man switch is?
I do know what a dead man switch is.
Yeah,
but explain it.
For those who don't know, it is a mechanic where if the user is incapacitated in some manner, such as being dead, they will an override will happen, and the process will continue on. So it's also known as
sorry, go ahead.
It's also known as fail deadly instead of fail safe. So fail safe is if I'm operating a vehicle, I pass out, and the vehicle stops on its own because I'm not putting pressure on it anymore. Like many construction vehicles have that feature. Whereas fail deadly would be like a bomb. Like I am holding a bomb, and once I hit the trigger, as soon as I let go of pressure, the bomb will go off still. So even if I get shot, right? I get shot and I fling the trigger away from my hand, it will still go off. It's because it's fail deadly. So I have failed, but there's still the process that is happening, also known as the dead man switch. Sorry, what were you going to say?
In door access community, fail safe is when a trigger like fire alarm happens, and then they stop applying power to the lock, and now the lock becomes unlocked because it's fail safe.
Yes.
And then because when locks are locked, that means they're powered locked. Well, it depends on how. Don't worry about it.
Sure. No, I get what you mean, though.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up a dead man switch. Maybe we should keep on reading.
Maybe we should keep on reading. I should also mention, I specifically brought it up. Again, I forgot this example until just now. Was if you've seen the movie Doctor Strangelove, that is
years ago.
Yeah, that's the basis of the whole story. Is that, hey, the Soviets, we made a fail deadly. We made a dead man switch that will destroy the world with this massive world-ending bomb in case we ever get taken, the Kremlin, the head of the Soviet Union, ever gets taken out. And then the joke is, well, that only works if we know about it. It's like, yeah, we were going to tell you. Okay, here we go.
I should rewatch that movie. I just remember all of them fighting in the war room, and one of them just says "no fighting in the war room." I remember thinking that was genius.
Yep, it's one of the that is literally one of the greatest lines in satire. Is that one line? It's often quoted. And sorry, I promise we'll get back to the story. It's that the movie was released like a couple weeks after the JFK assassination.
Oh, hell yeah. I didn't know that.
Did you know that the original ending, so in the spoilers for a 80-year-old movie, I don't know, the 60-year, the original ending
was going to say 80's a little much, but
the original ending was everyone in the war room, in the US war room, gets into a pie fight, like they start throwing pies at each other. And it was a joke about like how all they're just playing around, they're horsing around, meanwhile billions of people are dying around. Yeah, that was the point. And then, because the president is also in the bunker, there was a shot where whoever throws a pie and it hits the president, and then one of the generals says, "Our gallant young president has been taken down in his prime," and that was shot before the JFK assassination. Mm-hmm. And then when they were screening that for the executives, they were like, "So we're not. You're reshooting that just for the record. We're not. That's not our ending."
Those cowards.
Yeah. Although I think the director said that, yeah, I didn't feel good about that ending anyway. And then the ending that we do have, I agree, is much better. Yes, I think that's better. Okay. Here we go. The Return, Part 2. We open on the Freedom Fighters, present day. These are the prime Freedom Fighters, by the way, right? We open on the prime.
Yeah, these are the Freedom Fighters we know and love.
Yeah. They're clearing out boxes of spare SWATbot parts. Tails manages to drop some of the spare parts on Antoine. An accident? Perhaps. Though if I was in Tails' position, I too would accidentally drop SWATbot spare parts on him. Rotor screams out that to be careful, and that spare parts are still dangerous even if they aren't in the SWATbots themselves. Sally begins to question how things are going with Snively now that Robotnik is gone. After all, Snively should be able to keep Robotnik's operation going without him. Rotor says, I gotta remember my Rotor voice. It's just Goofy. I just gotta channel Goofy. Gorf. It's not gonna be good. Well, that depends, Princess, on how much information old Doc Robotnik entrusted with him. We cut to Snively, watching the freedom fighters on a monitor cursing Robotnik. Rotor got it 100% right. Robotnik has left Snively with no tools. I licked your boots like no one else. I was your lackey. Not even crab meat could grovel as well as me. And this is what I get in return. To think that Sonic has finally won it all. Oh, the pain! The pain! Just then, Robotnik's head appears on the monitor behind Snively. Then, he appears on every monitor across Mobius. Afternoon, or no, sorry. Afternoon, how do you do? No. Attention! Attention, freedom fighters! You may think you have beaten me, but I haven't even begun to fight back. In fact, if I can't have Mobius, neither will you. For my last act from beyond the grave, I will unleash my army of SWATbots and other assorted mechanoids to totally devastate, demolish, and just plain turn Mobius into a wasteland. We cut back to the freedom fighters. SWATbots are walking up and surrounding our beloved heroes. Sonic tells everyone to hide while he struts his supersonic stuff. He runs out and takes out the SWATbots in the immediate vicinity, but there are hundreds more coming. Antoine finds a door and screams out to the rest of the freedom fighters that he has found an escape route. The freedom fighters all run through the door. Antoine takes one look back and sees the army of SWATbots closing in. Mon Dieu! End of part 2. Thank you. Thank you again for making me. Honestly, by the end of this, by 100 issues, I'm going to be like a goddamn ventriloquist. I'm going to be like Jeff Dunham, where he like switches between like 5 different characters at the same time. That's his like signature thing.
Yeah, just there should be a funnier ventriloquist you can point to.
I really wish. Because I've rewatched some of that stuff, and it does not hold up, boy.
It's all racist humor.
No, okay, so yes.
Or at least the stuff I remember. Like, it was mainly just the terrorist guy I remember.
He's probably his most popular person, but his most popular character. Like 70% of it is like racist humor. Which is why the boomers loved him. It's exactly why the boomers loved him, and because it's a ventriloquist and all that stuff. So it's very.
I don't think that's
humor.
why anybody liked him.
It's.
I don't think ventriloquists are very well respected in our society. Sadly,
They should be.
Yes, they should be above most humans.
I think in terms of comedy acts, they're up there because there's an element that regular stand-up artists don't have to deal with. But that's an objective view. That's trying to objectify something that is subjective, I should say. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't have a good segue. I was trying to think of how I could bring like, hey, yeah, let's I don't know.
Let me throw my voice in.
Maybe if I just start saying it, I could come up with something, but no, nothing came.
Let me throw my voice at this idea. No.
You know what is better than my nothing, so I can't even make fun of you.
There you go.
How would you like part 2? I feel like we can't really discuss much until part 3.
It's in the middle, right? I just want to say, just seeing Robotnik come back and revealing himself to the freedom fighters sucks. It's just so cheap. It's like, oh, you're not even going to do something big and grandiose. You're just going to pop in here as if nothing happened.
Well, I mean, if I feel like they shouldn't have had part 1. I feel like this should have been part 1. And I feel like you open on this and you get like, because it very clearly Robotnik is like, oh, you guys won. But here's the surprise. You didn't win, right? Because it's clearly a recorded message playing all over Mobius. And that's a cool thing to deal with, like, one last FU to the freedom fighters after, like, they quote won. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just to spell it out to where we are right now, because this was very confusing. I had to reread the first part a couple of times and, like, put it in context. So the last issue 21, the story ends with Robotnik getting effectively vaporized out of nowhere. And there's no timeline fuckery at this point. Issue 22.
He was... so we know now he wasn't vaporized. He was teleported.
Correct. But it looked like he was vaporized, right?
Exactly.
And then in the opening part 1 of issue 22, where we are now, Robotnik first is transported forward in time and in an alternate dimension. So there's double there.
Yes.
And then he first of all, he arrives in front of the Freedom Fighters. In front of Sonic and Sally.
Well, in front of King and Queen Sally and Sonic, yeah.
So good ending, Freedom Fighters, he gets teleported in front of. But then immediately, like a second later, less, he gets extracted by Robo-Robotnik in this world. And Robo-Robotnik's like, hey, welcome to my world. This is the bad ending for us because we lost as Robotniks. And then regular Prime Robotnik is like, oh, okay. Well, we can just like not lose. Let me try that again. And then now in part 2, he gets transported into, so now we're back to status quo. We're back where we are.
See, for example, so, okay, I'm glad you said it like that because how things are worded, this is like an alternate timeline, right?
No, I think we're back to status quo.
Their timeline just in the future?
No. Well, okay. It's actually left a little ambiguous based off the first part. No, it's not. Hold on. Okay. This is a very thin piece of evidence, but I'm going to employ it here. Okay. In the alternate dimension forward in time thing, Sally is wearing the Queen's tiara.
Mm-hmm.
That signifies that this is future them.
Yes.
And in a different timeline.
Yeah.
The reason why I would say part 2, which we just read, is back to status quo, regular timeline, Prime, everything, is because Sally is not wearing the Queen's crown, Queen's tiara.
No. Okay, let me. I think you misunderstood what I was saying.
Hate this. I fucking hate this timeline shit. Go ahead.
So actually, now that you've just said it, I can see an argument for that, and that annoys me too. But no, we're in our Prime universe right now.
Yes.
With our Freedom Fighters.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so that was just some weird alternate. Okay. I feel like this is I think the thing that's fucking it all is just the fact that Ken wanted to just be like, hey, here's Queen and King Sonic and Sally again, and it just confuses everything.
Yes. 100%. And it's really annoying, and that first part, even just the first half of that first part, that's all of the post-Robotnik we're going to get. That's all of the post-Robotnik we're going to get.
Well, also, like, it's also extremely, like, okay, I don't know if it's, like, explained very well from what I wrote, but so Robotnik appears on this alternate future timeline in front of Princess and King Sonic and Sally, and then Robo-Robotnik sees that Prime Robotnik landed, and he just teleports him up to the planet, and I'm just like, why not just teleport him directly to the fucking space station or something? I don't know. It just seems like fucking dumb. Just go to part 3 so we can talk about everything.
No, I concur. The first part is extremely unnecessary in every possible way. Because the only thing I can see from Ken's point of view, functionally, mechanically, is that that first part was just to function as a, hey, this is the small, tiny glimpse of post-Robotnik world we get to see. Which shows how this could be Ken. This could actually be maybe the producer. This could be, or the editor, or this could even be Sega. I don't know, but it sounds like, hey, they have no faith in this world and the interesting things you can do with it post Robotnik. We only care about the status quo. We only care about Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, right? We don't need to see anything beyond that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, because there's a rich world there ripe for the taking. But no, we had to do Sonic 06. Okay, here we go. The Return, Part 3. Snively is surrounded by SWAT bots. Operations Wasteland is now in effect. Directive, destroy everything in sight. Leave no stone or hedgehog unturned. The SWAT bot takes aim at Snively and shoots. Snively jumps out of the way. The SWAT bot destroys the wall behind Snively. Smoke starts to fill the area. The SWAT bot raises its hand to finish off Snively, who's cowering in fear. When Robotnik walks out of the smoke and stands in front of the SWAT bot. The SWAT bot takes aim at Robotnik, but Robotnik shoots first and swiftly defeats the SWAT bots. Robotnik is angry at Snively. He leaves him alone for just a few days and all hell has broken loose. Snively reveals that something called Operation Wasteland has now taken effect. It seems Snively has uttered the phrase, "Sonic has finally won it all," the code word that activated Robotnik's backup plan for when he dies. Robotnik and Snively start watching Sonic on a monitor. His destruction of the SWAT bots is swift and efficient. Still, there are too many of them for the Freedom Fighters to win. It is an unwinnable battle. Snively and Robotnik continue watching on the monitor. Snively is excited that the Freedom Fighters are finally going to get theirs. Robotnik, however, is a little more apprehensive. After all, if Robotnik doesn't stop the destruction that the SWAT bots are causing, then there will be nothing left to rule over. Robotnik finds a giant red button with the word abort on the console. He pushes it, stopping all the SWAT bots in their tracks, and they all start shutting down. Can you imagine if that blue-furried boob knew that he owed his life to the generosity?
Generosity.
Do you reading this? You should put gerosity. That sounds like a real world.
I wrote this pretty fast and loose.
I know, it's okay.
As always.
That he owed his life to the generosity of his greatest enemy. Robotnik sits and ponders. The mere fact that Robotnik saved Sonic's life would cripple his ego. But Robotnik appears on a monitor in front of Sonic. You hapless hedgehog! Aren't you the least bit curious who it was that saved your bacon? Sonic and the Freedom Fighters are shocked. After all, they saw Robotnik die in front of their eyes. What you saw and what happened are two different realities. I'm very much alive and kicking. And I wanted the satisfaction of seeing your face, knowing it was I who saved your miserable neck. So what do you want from me? A medal? Just you realizing that your fate is controlled by me is victory enough today. That'll be the day, Robopuss. Just called him a fucking pussy. Robotnik opens a door behind the Freedom Fighters, saying they may leave. There has been no gain, but there has been no loss. We shall live to fight another day. End of part.
Hey, thematically, what a way to end it.
It's a way to end it, sure.
Yeah, as soon as you said Robopuss, I was like, I'm gonna make you say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad you did.
Yeah, I know. The kill switch.
Yes.
The dead man switch. The being a phrase.
It's kind of
made
dumb.
me very angry.
It's very, very dumb. That's not how they work.
Yeah. I was immediately like, okay. Because I relate everything to Metal Gear Solid 2.
Of course.
It's my frame of reference to the world. It's how I interpret everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a character named Raiden who has a suit on, and as soon as he dies, someone is being held hostage. I don't want to spoil too much because I hope all my Metal Gear Solid 2 talk will one day make someone play Metal Gear Solid 2 because it's the greatest video game of all time. But he's wearing a suit, and if he dies, someone else who's monitoring his vitals will go and kill a hostage. So he has to like keep on fighting, or else someone will like get murked. Uh-huh. And I'm like, that's how this works. He's like part robot. I'm sure he has the capability to like have Wi-Fi all over Robotropolis, and as soon as his signal drops, like just go and like have these murderous SWAT bots go and start killing people.
Yeah.
The fact that like, because now he's just banking on someone. Right? If Snively wasn't there, what if Snively died in that battle? Do you think Sonic is going around saying Sonic the Hedgehog has finally won the battle? Actually, Sonic might. It's yeah, that the whole I hated everything about this comic, which just like really annoyed me because I actually outside of a few core concepts, really loved the last issue, and I just fucking despised this one.
Yeah, dude. It just reset.
So,
it reset everything in the least logical and least like entertaining way. Right? The whole thing just reeked of back to status quo, and I hate that. This felt like a transition comic. You know what I'm saying? Not even filler. Not even filler.
Transition to what, though?
Exactly. To the status quo. The status quo.
Okay. Well, I didn't ask it, so I feel like I should. Overall, your feelings. I feel like you've kind of implied that you didn't like it.
Yes, very quickly, and I basically said it, is that yes, I very much did not like this at all. It's very frustrating, both on a just, reading the story, issue page by page kind of thing, but also it's just frustrating to have someone in the hierarchy, right? Someone in the staff not having faith in a different chapter of the Sonic world. And I have not read ahead. I'm assuming, Nick, you haven't read ahead either. But yeah, it that's what it seems like. Because this next story we're about to read is a nothing burger. It really is just a side adventure that has no consequence. But hey, you know what? So was the last issue, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
And we recognize
weird. Nothing truly matters.
Yes, and that is comic books, right? That is a very, very bad habit.
That's the thing I dislike.
Yes, exactly. Is that where nothing matters?
Well, we'll see. They're like, what I'll say is, it seems like Archie Sonic is in its own weird world, and I feel like, based on what I understand, like Sega just kind of lets them do whatever. So maybe at some point things will matter, right? But very early on in these early issues, it's very much like, hey, we won. Surprise, no, you didn't. And then just a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
it's unfortunate because there's a really rich world to explore here, and a lot of cool, like basic core concepts of the resistance, the freedom fighters, and this ultra fascist, techno fascist kind of thing. It's like such an overwhelming, like the issue 1, the bad guy won. That's where we're at. The bad guy has won, and how cool is that? Giving us somewhere to go, giving us somewhere to go, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I absolutely adore the fact that like we are technically in a world where like the battle was lost, and I feel like they don't explore that at all. But also, I do acknowledge, I feel like we are very early in the
run of the
comic starting to take itself seriously. So while we are having these complaints, I do acknowledge that maybe by issue 50 we'll be getting more of that. You know what I mean?
We've talked about this before, like during one of the Sonic specials, and I am holding out hope as well. If we're not getting anywhere by issue 100 or like, whatever, by then, and we're still doing this shit, we'll still keep going because I want to read every Sonic comic. But I'll be very upset about it.
Yeah, I know. We'll still talk about it. Don't get me wrong. We'll just be angry.
Because once we start, we will never stop.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the life I have committed to.
In fact, we have dead man swishes where if we die, the show will keep going. We can't reveal what it is, but they'll keep going.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully we will never have to reveal what it is.
What'd be really funny is that if somehow, for some reason, we went away and like a fan was like, hey, I'm going to do a continuation series starting with issue number 23, right? It's like, so watch the first 23 episodes of Gotta Talk Fast, and then I created this new YouTube channel called Gotta Talk Fast 2. Gotta Talk Faster, and we're the continuation
Gotta
series.
Talk Faster. You know what? If a sister channel started called Gotta Talk Faster, I wouldn't be angry. Like, unironically, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Yeah. That's on us for not copyrighting Gotta Talk Faster.
That is our TikTok handle, though.
Oh, it is. So their TikTok handle's Gotta Talk Fast.
There you go.
Like it's somehow like resets so they can take it.
All right. Should we do part 3, or should we do this last story?
Yeah, man. I hope you are ready to do a lot of Princess Sally voice.
I mean, okay, so my Princess Sally voice is hardly a voice. It's just leader and a very righteous, feminine sounding voice, feminine attempted sounded voice, right?
Well, what's reading a bedtime story voice?
That's right. That's right. Okay, here we go. Tales' Nighttime Story. Script by Angelo De Cesare and penciled by Dave Manock. We open on Tails and Sally in Tails' treehouse room in the above-ground village of Knothole. Sally is trying to read a bedtime story to Tails, but Tails, being 4 years old, is being rambunctious and playing Sonic the Hedgehog. Tails apologizes for his energy, but excitedly starts talking about how fun Sonic's life is while he sits behind and gets babysat. Sally explains that yes, Sonic's life is fun, but it is also filled with danger and hard work. There's an old Mobian saying, "Never wish to be someone else until you have fought a battle in his armor." Tails is confused, so Sally decides to explain it with a fable. Once upon a time, in ancient Mobius, there was a real cool... There was a real...
Night?
Say again?
It's a real cool night.
Okay, you've spelled real cool no.
Yeah. Also known as a night. You can't read my shorthand?
Okay. Once upon a time, in ancient Mobius, there was a real cool knight known as Sir Runalot. We cut to Sonic in what looks like medieval times. Sonic is in a chibi blue knight's armor, riding a horse and a jousting stick. Shiny. Sire Runalot was famous for his brilliant blue armor, which was kept highly polished by his loyal young page, Mortail. Tails is wearing what I'll describe as a Robin Hood outfit, but red instead of green. Mortail would follow Sir Runalot everywhere as they went about their nightly duties. Mortail watched as Sir Runalot bested the king's enemies with the greatest of ease. He watched as Sir Runalot was showered with gifts from the townspeople, and he watched as Sir Runalot won the hearts of the fairest maidens on Mobius. All of this made Mortail very sad, for he longed to be like his hero Sir Runalot instead of a little insignificant nobody. And then, one fateful day, in merry May, or maybe it was July, Sir Runalot went on vacation, leaving behind his suit of armor for Mortail to polish. Suddenly, Mortail was struck by an idea. This is the perfect opportunity to try on Sir Runalot's armor. I'm sure he won't mind, he said to himself. But when he put it on, Mortail decided to pretend to be Sir Runalot and have some fun for a change. Mortail is walking along when he stumbles along Sir Nightmare from the kingdom of Robotania, this world's Robotnik, and he wishes to face the champion of Mobius. Sir Nightmare wore a suit of armor weighing 100 pounds, so he needed a magical horse. We cut to Sir Nightmare, chasing Mortail on his horse, which seems to be a unicycle with a horse head. Mortail trips. Mortail was no match for Sir Nightmare. It looked like the end of Mortail, when suddenly a blue saw blade flies across the panel and cuts Sir Nightmare's mace in half. Sir Nightmare runs at Sonic at full speed, and in classic Looney Tunes fashion, Sonic steps out of the way for Sir Nightmare to run face first into a brick wall, defeating him swiftly. And so, Mortail realized that being a hero was not always fun, and he lived happily ever after. Now, Tails, do you understand the moral of that story? Tails? Tails! Sally looks around the room and sees that Tails is missing. She hears Tails outside and looks out the window to see Tails, who stole Sonic's sneakers, is running around super fast so that he can really play Sonic now. The end.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's nothing. It is kind of annoying because this is like the fourth or fifth. Hey, Tails gets his own. Tails gets to be the hero kind of thing. But
I want like an actual hero story with Tails.
He did. He get like 3 of them at least, right?
But they're all jokes.
Yes,
I want like a serious one. my favorite thing in this. Wait. Sorry, I was only half listening. Did I make that joke about it being in above Knothole Village?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I kept that or not. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fucking BS. We're not in Knothole anymore. It's technically Knothole. It's just not an underground village.
We talked about that, where it's like, yeah, it was really cool that this was an underground resistance movement. The whole society was under the ground so that they could better stay safe from Robotnik. And then one day, I think it was the In Your Face special. They were like, "Yep, it's just the Smurfs."
Yeah, it was just more. I wasn't sure if they committed to it yet or not,
They did.
Now it seems like they've committed fully. My favorite thing about this issue, and it's pretty much the only thing I feel like worth calling out, is Sonic gifted a poster of himself to Tails.
Yeah, that's the other thing about the story, is that this doesn't really make sense, because Tails is like, "Oh, Sonic gets to be the hero and go on these adventures. Motherfucker, you're there with him like 80% of the time."
Yeah, honestly, that's the other thing. He is with him a lot. Maybe not like for the most dangerous stuff, but he's with him a lot.
For some very, very
poster,
dangerous stuff. Like, by child soldier standards, he is a veteran. He is a grizzled vet.
And he's only 4. He's going to be the most powerful when he's grown up. If there's... Next time we see future Sonic and Sally, if Tails isn't like a grizzled like lumberjack who's rejected society and living in the woods because he's like too traumatized from like a bird squawks and he like dives down in the ground because he's like, yeah, he's just
and then years later,
PTSD.
Yes, and then years later, Antoine comes from the woods and it's like, you are a difficult fox to find. And then Tails goes, putting the axe behind his neck. It's like, not hard enough, apparently. Like, roided out Tails is like, he's like Rambo.
The beginning of Commando,
yeah.
Where he's just... he like screams out, "Get down!" And Antoine's just like, "How'd you know he's coming?" And he's like, "The wind. I could smell him coming." It's just...
I really want to watch Commando. I watched Commando when I was like a kid, so I've probably confused it with a bunch of other movies at this point. But I know the iconic like one-man mission where he's like using a box rocket launcher. I forget the name of it, but just like blow up cars and shit. And it's like, oh man, that's machismo, 80s machismo at its finest, man.
I unironically think Commando is probably the greatest action movie of all time.
I can get behind that. I think I would disagree, but I understand what your logic probably is going to be.
Well, okay. Well, this is more interesting than Sonic. What this issue is Sonic.
This issue.
What would you consider is the greatest action movie of all time?
The greatest action movie? I honestly think it's got to go to Die Hard. Because it's action, but it's... Okay, so my logic is that it's action, but it's relatable to a degree, right? We'll never be John McClane either, but at least John McClane has an everyman thing about him, and the thing that makes it relatable, and it's like, this is action on a relative scale to everyday office life, a holiday party, right? And there...
So, my problem there... Mm-hmm. Unless if you had more to say.
No, that was basically
felt like you were wrapping up.
Yeah.
Is Die Hard is playing into the fantasy of Die Hard was supposed to be a sequel to something. What was it supposed to be a sequel of? Doesn't matter.
Die Easy.
Side note, one of my favorite Sonic lines is Sonic Adventure 2 is when Shadow is just like, "Why are you still alive?" And Sonic's like, "What can I say? I die hard." And I'm just always like, it felt like someone just really like Die Hard and tried to force that line in. Because even when I was like 10, I was like, that doesn't work. But let me go back to
hey, Shadow.
Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Hedgehog.
Now, if Keanu doesn't say that in Sonic 3, that's a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
Die Hard is just playing into the fantasy of like what everyone thinks they can do with Die Hard. Right. Yeah. Screw that. I look at Commando and I'm like, only Commando can do that. No one else is gonna like go through like a mansion in the courtyard, just like holding 2 machine guns,
Akimbo
mowing
machine
people
guns?
down.
Yeah.
No one hit him. He has like a kill count of like 80 something people in that movie. It's so fucking good. And on top of it, there's 2 criteria for a good action movie. One is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and 2 is you got to have the solid one-liners
Yes.
after like
Correct.
every single kill. And Commando has the best one-liners in any movie. From
me one,
everything
give me
from
one.
one of my favorites. He's fighting the like head bad guy, which they ended up getting a different. So the guy playing the bad guy was like a last minute stand-in because the original guy they were like getting dropped out for whatever reason. I don't remember. So his outfit doesn't fit him at all, and so he looks like a gay like leather daddy.
Got
and
it.
It's so fucking funny. It's so good. And then and so like he looks like he's trying to be intimidating, but doesn't come off like that at all.
Sure.
And then so he's fighting Arnold in like this like a steam pipe room. Arnold takes a pipe, rips it off the wall, and then stabs Bennett through his body into the pipe behind him. And so what that does, because I mean, Arnold pushed it with such force that it went into another pipe, and then steam starts coming out of the pipe that's like in Bennett.
Okay.
As he's like pretty much he's dying like pushed up against the wall, pinned with pipe, with steam coming out, and Arnold is just like, let off some steam, Bennett. Like, yeah. Pretty fucking good.
It's pretty good.
Another good one, sorry, I'm in it, is the he's like stuck on an airplane with a guy. The guy's like his handler. And Arnold's like captured, right? And so they sit on the plane. Arnold needs to get off the plane, so he kills the guy next to him, very, very discreetly because the plane's full.
Right.
Takes a hat, puts it on top of his head, and then gets up and talks to the not waitress, the help walking up the airline hostess,
okay. Stewardess. Yes.
and he's just like, yeah, he's like, don't wake him. He's dead tired.
That's pretty good.
Yep. Best one-liners in any action movie. Anyway, yeah, sure. Sonic. It's a fine story. Whatever. It's reminiscent. It's kind of nice to go back to this like fun style, but like I don't really want a lot of it. So
if you're gonna do this,
I want more of the serious.
Yes. If you're gonna do a more lighthearted style, and with Dave Bannock as the artist, have it be these kinds of stories. I just think it's annoying how this is like the 4th Tails is the hero story. And the funny thing is, it's not even a full hero story for Tails, right? He gets bailed out by Sonic in the end.
Well, also, I mean, it's not even a real fairy tale.
Of course.
But I do want at least one Spaz children like story, like these like really silly one-offs.
Okay.
I want it done by Spaz because he's got a very dramatic style that's very like kind of mature for this comic, and I think it'd just be really funny.
I think so too.
Okay. You wanna grab your guitar?
Now it's time for Sonicgrams. You can write to Sonicgrams. Oh yeah, it's a legally distinct Sonicgrams. It's an unaffiliated Sonicgrams. We made our own Sonicgrams. All right.
Good job playing as always, Dominic.
you.
I don't know how you get it to sound the same every single time. It's always impressive. We have an email from Plasma K again. Thank you so much for the follow-up. And ooh, we got spicy. A bit of a correction for Speed Boom's email in episode 27.
Oh no. Okay, I don't like the idea of our
Well,
listeners arguing.
I'm here for it. while Ian and Ken didn't work at the main Sonic comic at the same time, Ian did work on Sonic X while Ken was still working at Archie. So that actually, I think, I know you were very anti-reading Sonic X, but I almost feel like that's a strong pushback for maybe we should read Sonic X.
Wait a second. Ian Flynn did the Sonic X comic.
Yes,
Okay.
not the show.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
And then my gut says you don't know this. I definitely don't. This is the first time reading an email or is like, okay, maybe we should talk about having a Discord or something. Because I feel like our other users might know the answer, but we definitely don't. So speaking Plasma K's email still. Also, do you like fanfiction.net or AO3's layout? I like AO3's granular tag system, but some people don't. And I also don't like how you can filter out a bajillion franchise crossovers from more contained crossovers. I have never read a fanfiction thing, ever. No, that's not true. Last night, I've read an iCarly one paragraph of a fan fiction because I was like, I'm going to start looking. And
Which one did you read?
I just read a random one. I couldn't tell you anything about it because I don't know anyone's names. And then I was like, I think I need to watch an episode of iCarly so I can at least know who everyone is.
If you just watch like the first 5 episodes, you'll basically know who everyone is, I think.
I said 1 episode and you jumped it to 5. So yeah, I can't comment at all about AO3's layout or fanfiction.net. Can you, Dominic?
Only fanfiction.net. So the only fanfiction, fanfiction was established in 1998. AO3 and Wattpad were later. I think 2008 and 2010. I forget which one's which, but later, definitely later. I grew up during the fanfiction.net era, where it was all fanfiction.net or just like individual forums where people would just write their own stuff, not for the archives, which sucks because a lot of that stuff is lost now. But yeah, so I can only attest to fanfiction.net. The others I've barely used at all. They seem more modern and nicer, but I am, for nostalgia's sake, and it's very suitable, the fanfiction.net layout. So that's what I'm used to because that's all I ever tried. I think I got out of fanfiction stuff, I want to say like late high school, because I got into it like 7th, 8th grade.
So that's what, 2011, 2012?
Yes, correct. It was like, 2006-ish to about 2011-ish is when I stopped. And the height of it was in the middle of those years. So like 2008, 2009, that was like peak fan fiction for me amongst the things that I like. So it was iCarly, it was Sonic, it was... And probably those were like the big main ones. And then
the iCarly Sonic crossovers.
There were a lot of crossovers, but mostly for other Nickelodeon and Disney shows, as opposed to Sonic the Hedgehog, which would be unfortunate. Which was unfortunate that no one ever made it. Or maybe they did, and I didn't know.
Okay, I'm going to look right now. Fanfiction.net, right?
.net, yes.
I am on my work laptop, and people are going to know that I have Googled fanfiction.com or .net. I'm okay with this. I will.
Yeah. So Nick,
if they fire me, this is the way to get fired.
Nick, do you have an official guess as to what fanfiction was the one I wrote back in the day?
No, not. I didn't even. I don't even know if I know how to navigate fanfiction.net yet because I just remembered I came here the other day and I was like, I'm kind of intimidated because I just typed in iCarly and there are 1,701 iCarly posts, but they all seem to be reviews, not iCarly and Zoe 101.
That was a very common one.
Wait, Carly, Sam, Freddie, and Spencer decide to have the lost Russian Duchess Anastasia on iCarly. Okay,
I kind of want to read that.
Right.
I kind of want to read it.
Let's see. I decided to do this crossover with My Little Pony and iCarly. That makes sense. Man, I got really distracted here. iCarly, Harry Potter, of course. iCarly reimagined in the Pokemon universe. Okay, see, I need to read some of these. Maybe I should have come here. This is how they get you. So the answer is no, because I don't know how to search. I did it the other night. And so what I ended up doing, because I was legitimately looking for yours, was I somehow figured out how to narrow it. So I was just looking up by date published. And then I just went all the way back to the beginning, and I was just looking at usernames because I was like, I bet I can identify what your username used to be. And then I found one that I was like, maybe. And I clicked on it, and I was just like, I don't think this is right at all. And I stopped reading after like 3 sentences. So that's where I'm at.
Okay,
iCarly and Power Rangers? Is there more than one fanfiction you wrote, or did you only write iCarly? I don't remember if I asked this.
I only wrote the one story for iCarly.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. I was trying to get more, get another, what's it called,
Hint.
fanfiction out of you so that I could, use that to cross-reference. You should probably cut a lot of that last part out.
No, that's fine. Did you have an official guess? No. Just pick one. Just pick one.
All right. One Crazy Night by Eggerts 1. Complete with piggyback rides, hair braiding, and splash fights. Is that right?
Sounds naughty. No. So what was it? What's the name of it?
One Crazy Night by Eggerts 1. I chose it because it specifically was like, hey, so this is my first iCarly fanfiction.
That's a good way to go about it. You're right. You did extract a hint from me. If you see someone say, it's my first, that may be a hint.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I never wrote something like that. Like I would never write, this is my first story. Oh my God.
Well, actually, now that I'm reading it, I would have never said it. But I needed to say something. I was on the spot.
I understand. Okay. I started a spreadsheet.
The end is... Yeah, you would have never written this. Okay, so my first submission has been failed.
That's okay.
How funny would it have been if I found it, though? That's the issue. Only 399 left to go. I'm Nick. I stream at twitch.tv/Mojosaurus. My personal blue sky is at Mojosaurus.
And I am a very sick Dominic. I got a cold, which is so apologies for all the sniffling. But you can follow me at Blue Collar Jazz, my jazz adventures in Chicago, of which I will work on having more of those in the winter, in the new year. And then my personal blue sky is at Domguan. Just read the thing here.
You can follow us on socials like Gotta Talk Fast. TikTok is Gotta Talk Faster. We also have a video version of the podcast where you can follow along with our panels and our handsome faces. You can write in at the show at Sonicgrams at GottaTalkFast.com, ask us questions, provide your directions, and give us your opinion on this week's issue. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and remember, when life keeps going fast, you gotta talk fast and just get through it. I love you.
And I'll line it up in post. Gotta talk.
Gotta Talk Fast was written by Nick Folkerts and edited by Dominic Guanzon. Intro and outro themes recorded by Dominic Guanzon. Gotta Go Fast originally composed by Norman J. Grossfeld, Joseph Garrity, and Russell Velasquez.
Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast, gotta talk fast, gotta talk fast.